really fabulous day. So that was Wednesday, and then yesterday was my mastermind day as well, so it's been a full-on week. But obviously I cannot complain because I've just come back from a 2-week cruise around the Caribbean. So I really cannot complain about that. But I've only just got round to uploading some of the photographs too. So that was, it was one of those like, oh my God, I'm normally putting all my photos on. So I've just put those on as well. So we had an amazing holiday. So back to it now. And I hope you've got your pen and paper with you ready today, because I'm going to obviously talk to you, we're looking at limiting beliefs today and some of the blocks that I found that, hey Teresa, lovely to see you, lovely. So I'm back, we're getting ready to do our NLP training now, so I will be in touch. So yeah, one of the biggest blocks that I kind of see, and it really showed up a lot on my one-day event on Wednesday. So one of the biggest blocks that I see coming up in both personal life and in business is limiting beliefs. Now, sort of having that lack of self-belief can really stop you achieving your visions and your desires. And we can all have those empowering beliefs that drive us forward, but then we can also have these limiting beliefs that hold us back. And it's those limiting beliefs that are normally really deep-rooted and stop us getting the money that we want, the success that we want, relationships, and just about all areas of our life. And sometimes people say, well, I don't know, I've got a limiting belief. And it can often show up in different guises. So it can show up as overwhelm, it can show up as a lack of clarity, being stuck, if you are overthinking or procrastinating or having anxiety. So it can show up in lots and lots of ways. And I know for myself, I spent years holding myself back because I believed I wasn't good enough or not worthy enough. And, it wasn't until I dealt with those beliefs that, I was able to move on and step up. So how do we get about, working on those beliefs that are getting in the way? So I'm going to go through, like I said, I'm going to do something different today because we're going to have a little bit of a practical session as well. So I'm going to go through with you a specific technique to bust your limiting beliefs. So do get your pen and paper ready. And, this is a really simple technique. We're going to do it here and now. And then I'm going to tell you a bit more as we go through today on why we want to change our beliefs. Why do we want to let them go? And please feel free to add some comments as we are going through as well. So if you've got any questions as we're going through, please do feel free to actually put them into the chat and I can answer them as we go through today. I have been talking a lot this week, so I have got my glass of water actually because my voice is going a bit hoarse already. Okay, so first of all, before we start, who here believes, and I know there's a few of you that catch up on replay and catch up later, so if you're doing it on replay or you're doing it live, just please put in the comments if you know that you've got a limiting belief, first of all. Because the thing is, what we believe has a dramatic impact on our success. And it's why that actually I go into this area so deeply in my programs. I had my mastermind group yesterday. They've been with me, for months. And, we still do a bit of work on beliefs as well. So it's a really core fundamental work and we do some practical stuff in there. So it can still come up. And you actually, the thing is, any blocks to what we're, that stands between our dreams, our desires, what we really, really want and our results that we want to get, it rarely comes from the outside. So although things like strategy and the tech and your systems and all of those are really important, what goes on inside our mind is far beyond any of that. It's really, your mindset can be your greatest ally or it can be your biggest roadblock. So you are the key to that. And what you think and believe, your thoughts and the words you use, all of those things make up your mindset, and they are the core. We have to work on that. And one of the biggest things, as I've said earlier, one of the biggest areas that I feel keeps people stuck is their own belief system. And you can form those beliefs in in many unconscious ways. So like you might have heard there, I said the unconscious way. So it's not something that we're walking around going, yeah, I know I've got a limiting belief, These are things that are deep rooted inside of us, and we can form those beliefs in many ways. So from our experiences, inferences, and by accepting what others tell us to be true. And they are influenced by our parents, that learnt their beliefs from their parents, from teachers, from friends. But all of them are creating an illusion for you based on someone else's belief. And most of our core beliefs are formed when we're children. So when we are born, we enter this world with a clean slate. We've got no preconceived ideas or beliefs. You were this bundle of joy, and you were not scared of anything. Then you started receiving messages from those around you about the way things are. And that was the start of filling you up with a lifetime of beliefs that have nothing to do with who you are or what is actually true. And we're really impressionable, and actually we say that our beliefs are formed before the age of 7. Our core beliefs are formed before the age of 7. And we're so impressionable at that age, and we're looking for meaning in absolutely everything, because we're naturally inquisitive, aren't we? You look at a child and they're always asking, why do we do this? Why? We're really curious. So all of this stuff happens at a very young age. And because we're unable at that age to distinguish between what's true or false, we just often accept what we are told as truth. So did you actually know that 95% of our thoughts and our behaviours are based on beliefs that have been programmed into you by other people? Passed on from generations like a family recipe. How many of you were told, oh, I'm big boned, I can't lose weight. Oh, it's in our family, so we can't do that because that's within our family. So those things are what are programmed into us. And then as we get a bit older and we go to school and we meet new friends, we then get our beliefs influenced by a whole new environment and a new set of people. So, by your classmates in school, by teachers. And, you might have been bullied at school, and you might have been told that, you were stupid, or you were too tall or too small or too fat or too thin or rubbish at what you do. And then you start believing that to be a fact. And when we accept something, so we take on that thought as a belief and be true, then we store it. Because your unconscious, it doesn't care whether that belief is true or false. It just takes it on. And it simply just stores it in our little filing cabinet. And, our unconscious is there to act as an autopilot. It's there to make our life easier and keep us safe. So it will just take on everything and think, oh, because you've thought it, that must be right. And it stores it in your system. And what we then do, so how those, I'm giving you quite a lot of theory stuff behind this, aren't I here? But I think it's useful for you to know how they're formed. So when we have these deep-rooted beliefs, our minds will constantly then look to prove and validate them. So how we think, act and feel is based on those beliefs. So if you think about it, you might have got them when you were 2 years old. And they're just stored, but we believe them to be true. And then we look for evidence to back that up, to validate it, because we can't prove ourselves wrong, can we? So let's just say, for instance, and this was something relevant for me, I actually had a belief growing up that dogs were dangerous. And I think I was nipped by, a neighbour's dog. And then I almost then had that thought process that all dogs then were dangerous. And it meant that actually as a child, I stayed away from all dogs because of that thought process. And a lot of that was just backed up by one incident, which then made me think one thing, and I disregarded all the evidence there to show that dogs, not all dogs are dangerous. Yeah, there might have been some that were, but generally they're not. And that's how we can get things distorted and blown out of all proportion. And so the first thing I want to just tell you is just realise that it's only the way that you think about a situation that makes it a problem for you. So, any situation that's happened in your past, it's not that situation that's the cause of the way you react right now. It's just your thoughts about it that are. So beliefs are nothing more than those repeated thoughts that we've decided to be keeping true. So actually, if you think about it now, by the age of 6 or 7, you've actually formed your main blueprint of your belief systems. Yes, lots of things happen as well through the years, and we kind of stack them on top of those to back those beliefs up. But most of your core beliefs are, we've taken on from up to 6 or 7. So your child self, let me just say this, and I'll say it a couple of times. Your child self is managing your life. It's managing your money, your relationships, your career, your work, your business. Your child self is managing your life. That's pretty scary stuff, isn't it? Pretty scary stuff. And this is deep stuff. It is deep stuff. And, it's why that, because I'm NLP trained, we work within my coaching programs and within my NLP training programs, which I'll tell you about as well at the end. It's why I use something called timeline therapy as part of my programs, because it enables us to get to the deeper root cause of the belief and remove it at that level rather than just the surface level. So if anybody has got some really deep rooted stuff, just drop me a note and I can have a chat with you about timeline therapy. Once we've got these beliefs formed, they become ingrained in us. We take them for granted and we assume that our beliefs must be true, whether they are actually true or not. I actually gave, at my one-day event on Wednesday, I talked about how I grew up thinking I was rubbish at maths. And that was all because when I was 7 years old, I was asked to stand up and say the 7 times table, and I couldn't do it. And then I did a training course years later, and I made I was asked a question, I couldn't answer it. So I used those 2 experiences in my whole life to make me believe that I was rubbish at maths. And it meant that I disregarded everything else to the contrary. So even when I was HR director and I had to use finance all the time, and I was actually really good at it, I still kept going back and saying, oh yeah, but remember, but I'm rubbish at maths, so I won't be able to do that. I can't do that because of that. And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because we look for all of the evidence. So rather than me going, oh, look at all these times where I've actually got everything right in maths, I would go to that one thing. And it becomes that self-fulfilling prophecy because that backs up the belief again. So what, firstly, our beliefs do for us, they dictate our behaviour, and second, they create that expectation in our mind about how we deserve to be treated as well. So actually, there's a little quote from Dr. Leonard Orr, what the thinker thinks, the prover proves. So the essence of that is whatever belief we are holding in our unconscious mind automatically filters everything around us to prove that that belief is true, that that thought is actually true. So let's get into getting rid of some of these beliefs that we've been holding on to now. Because if you've, I'd held on to that stuff for way too long and I wanted to get rid of it. So if you're the same, let's just do this activity right now. So get your pen and paper. First of all, want you to think about, why haven't you got what you want in your life? What is it that's holding you back? So when you think about what you want in life, what's the little voice that comes up for you that kind of says, oh, but you can't do that, you're not good enough. So what are the doubts and the worries and the negative thoughts that come up for you? Whether you think you're a fraud, that, you're not worthy of the role that you've got. It does take a bit of courage to do this work, I have to tell you, because obviously we're questioning ourselves here. So, and if you don't know what your beliefs are that's holding you back, then look for your evidence around you. So let's just say, what are your results that you're getting about what you believe? So are you keeping yourself small, for instance? Through fear or what have you? Or do you believe that you will never be that sort of person that will be able to earn a lot of money? Because what that will do, if that's your belief, you'll not earn a lot of money. Because you'll sabotage yourself every time you are earning some money. So think about what results you're getting. So maybe one of your beliefs are that you can't take on certain clients, or certain clients can't afford your services. And you might not realise that that's your belief. But then you look at the evidence. Are you then getting people buying your services? So if you're not, you must have a belief about your ability to sell your services. And that's how it all kind of works. So basically, life is a mirror. And we reflect back to us what we believe. So, and the more proof you then see of that, the stronger the belief will become. So let's just say, again, as an example, you say, oh, I'm rubbish at tech. I had a couple of tech issues on Wednesday, but I kept saying to myself, it's just out there, we can get this sorted. But if you've got a belief that you're rubbish at tech, then every time you go onto a system and it doesn't work for you, you'll then say to yourself, oh, I told you I was rubbish at tech. And when actually it could be that, like it was on Wednesday, Microsoft had gone down, for goodness sake. So, or you'd click the wrong button. So can you see there how you can actually skew things to back up what you believe? So what are the results saying, that you're getting in your life saying about what you believe? And then you're going to do this activity. So when you've got your belief, I want you to look at that belief that's held you back. And I want you to actually think about all the evidence of why it's not true. So with the example for me of maths, yes, I could say, right, when I was 7, I couldn't recite the 7 times table. I can recite it perfectly now. So I can prove that that's not true now because I can recite it perfectly now. Or, if I got the belief that, again, I was rubbish at the finance aspect of my job, I can then look at all the times that actually I did that finance perfectly. So if that's the first thing, I want you to look at what your limiting belief is. You may have some evidence to back it up. So let's just say you want to sell a program. You may have some evidence that you didn't sell it. So then you've got to look at, well, what did I sell? What else have I sold that can back, to prove that that belief is not just, that's not true. There might have been some other reason why you didn't sell something. So that's the first thing, is to think of all the evidence that it's not true. And then you're going to replace it directly with an empowering belief and a positive affirmation. And then you're going to repeat that to yourself daily to reprogram your mind. During my mastermind yesterday, one of the beliefs that came up for a couple of the ladies actually was about the need to work hard to get the success that they wanted. So we actually did some really deep diving work. Actually, I did some timeline therapy with them yesterday. We did some deep diving and I got them to show me all the evidence of where they've actually not worked hard and got fantastic results. So that's the first thing. And then what we do, so we then started saying, actually an empowering belief is everything comes easily to me. And we kept using the word easy and flowing. And so that has become an affirmation. So I've got them to change their password to saying it's easy. I work less and I earn more is a positive affirmation. And we keep saying that daily. So if one of your limiting beliefs is about working hard, change that to easy. I work easy and I get my results. Now, if you've got some really deeper, hey Als, lovely to see you. If you've got some really deeper beliefs that are really ingrained, so for one of my things was I used to get a lot of migraines, and that was actually some deeper stuff that I was still holding on to, from when I lost my mom. So actually, when you've got some really deeper beliefs like that, then come and speak to me about timeline therapy, because that is the quickest, most powerful way of getting rid of your beliefs. So now you understand why it's so important to look at your beliefs and replace them with some empowering ones. So I hope you found that exercise useful. Please do let me know how you've got on with that. Because after all, why would you want to live with these limiting and constraining beliefs that hold you back and make you unhappy and prevent you from stepping into your true potential? Why would you want that? I'm actually now running my next NLP practitioner program. We start in a couple of weeks, so I'm enrolling now so that you can start on the home study. So if you are interested in coming out with 3 qualifications, and so that, it's an NLP practitioner, you will become a coach, you will learn timeline therapy as well, so you'll learn how to do it with others, as well as experiencing that timeline therapy for yourself too, and become a coach, all by June of this year. And it's 3 internationally accredited qualifications, so internationally recognised qualifications that you can use. So if you are interested in NLP and how it can help you remove all of those obstacles that are holding you back, so that you can have the success for yourself and learn how to coach others too, then please do message me as well for some information about that. We are taking enrolments right now for that. And we've already got an amazing bunch of men and women, actually. The NLP is for men too. An amazing bunch of men and women joining us on the next cohort. So if you're interested, and you're interested in sort of delving deeper into maybe the psychological aspect of your mind and how we can use our mind to get our best results, then NLP could be for you. So do come and let me know. And I'd love to hear how you've got on with that little exercise that we've done today, and see how we have done with blasting that those limiting beliefs for you. Okay guys, thank you for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed that, and I look forward to seeing you again back at our normal time next week at 12 o'clock on Thursday. See you later. Have a fabulous weekend. Bye.